R slash am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for not allowing my daughter to join me in my son's activity? So I divorced my son mom 5 years ago. My son is 14 years old. I remarried when my son was 12-year-old. My new wife has a 10-year-old stepdaughter. The thing is, me and my son always plan one activity every month that we do on the weekends without anyone other than us. It is the only time me and my son can really talk about his life and almost about everything. After some time my daughter found out and she wanted to join in. She started throwing a fit and started crying. My wife wanted me to take my stepdaughter with me. I told no and my wife was pissed. The thing is, I make family plans and still take in daughter for her own activities. I do not want my previous son to feel that I do not care about him, and I want him to know I still care about him and he is still a priority for me. Am I the asshole for refusing to let a strange older woman into my house at night? I was at home by myself, and around 7:50 p.m., someone rang the doorbell. I checked the video feed and saw it was an older woman, maybe 70, that I didn't recognize, standing outside with a bag. When I opened the door, she said, "Oh, they left me outside, so can I come in?" When she asked to come in, she started to physically maneuver past me to walk into the house without waiting for my response, so I blocked the door, and I asked her again why she wanted to come in. She said again that they left her outside. I looked, and there was a pickup truck idling in the street and the passenger door fully ajar. Someone was in the driver's seat, and it looked like he was waiting for her. I told her, "I'm sorry, but I can't let you into my house, I don't know you." She said, "Well, I can't wait outside." And I offered to call the police for her if she needed, and she said that was fine. I closed the door, and she got into the truck, which then drove forward so they were in front of the house next door. It was all very creepy, and I was home alone, so I called the police to tell them the situation. My fiancé knew I was a little nervous about it, especially because I had just recently moved into the house, so he came home and checked the video feed. It turns out that the woman is our next door neighbor, who he assumed got locked out of her house. I've met her once or twice before, but I hadn't recognized her, and she never mentioned that she is our neighbor or tried to clarify the situation other than that she was left outside. My fiancé thinks that she might be in the early stages of dementia but says that it was an honest mistake on my part. Still, I feel like a major asshole. Am I the asshole for kicking my son out of the house for not accepting my daughter being LGBTQ? My son is 25 and my daughter is 16. First of all, my son has had no effort to get a job yet and doesn't chat with us most the time. My wife and I haven't tried to enforce anything yet because we still believed he'd turn sound. This all changed when on Friday my 16-year-old daughter came out as a lesbian, which me and my wife were really happy about this because when she confessed she just seemed so much happier than she was before. However, my son got angry and said that he would not accept a daughter that's one of those DES and that he feels like people only say they're gay because they want attention. Then he ran into his room and slammed the door. My daughter got really upset by this and said she didn't understand how he could be this way. Between that and the fact that he's 25 years old and trashed our house several times with his friends, I waited a few weeks for this to all calm down, and when he still hasn't apologized, told him that he has 2 weeks to get out or I'm going to kick him out. What happened next was my son got really infuriated and said that I had no right to kick out my son like that, and he was sure that his mom would not be happy. As it turns out, my daughter straight up said she didn't care. My wife called me an asshole for not talking to my son about why he doesn't accept her before kicking him out of the house, and that she feels like I should have talked this out with her first. I was only trying to make my daughter happy, but I feel like this could have ruined my relationship with my son. To be fair, I did ask my daughter if I could do this, but maybe I could have talked this out better with my son and wife. Am I the asshole for telling my husband I don't like what he made for dinner? So my husband is a wonderful man. He does laundry and is supportive, and I just love him to bits. We have been together for 15 years. I generally do 95% of the cooking. I love food. I am good at it and I enjoy it. When my husband cooks it is normally breakfast and he is good at it. Well, some days I am working and he has off. I have asked if he can have a meal prepared or bought on those 14-hour days. I am starving and just need to have something made when I get home. I am not a picky eater except for pretty much one dish. It is a balsamic chicken with tomatoes cooked in a crock pot. I think the flavor is bad and the texture is gross. I only know I don't like it because he keeps making it. I tell him nicely that I would rather have a peanut butter sandwich than this meal. He could literally make almost anything else. He could even barbecue it or roast it and I would like it. But he keeps making it. Today I just flat out told him I am not eating it. Why does he keep making it knowing I don't like it? He says he keeps forgetting. I feel so bad since he put in a lot of effort, but I would rather him make anything else, yet he keeps doing this. His feelings looked really hurt. He has done this with flowers our whole relationship. He always buys me flowers I don't like. I never say anything when he buys them because that would be rude. But I point out what I do like all the time, and even point out ones I don't, yet I always get the same generic roses with lilies and carnations. I just can't keep coming home to this same dinner. I had to put my foot down. But he looked crushed. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole? For not letting my sister babysit my daughter in her house because she lives in a polyamory-based love house? Okay, I'll try to explain this as best as I could, but apologies if I get some things wrong. I have a 4-year-old daughter who lives with me and my husband. My sister, 33, lives with her husband. We're in the same city about 40 minutes apart. I've been paying my sister to look after our daughter in the mornings and early afternoons as my sister is currently out of work. She's been coming to our house, but recently asked if my husband can just drop daughter off at her place when he goes to work. This way she could stay at home and not have to drive. I'm very hesitant. First of all, my sister and brother-in-law live in a special block of apartments that is like a membership club for people interested in polyamory. They have a very small apartment but shared communal spaces to congregate with the other residents. It is a real residential building but a very sexually charged place, literally called City Love Community/House unofficially in our area. They have erotic art on the walls and costumes and things displayed in the communal areas. I know from my sister that they also host play parties, which are essentially orgies every now and then. The people in the building aren't exactly friends or long-term residents either. My sister says turnover is pretty high and people come in and out all the time. So my sis and BIL have special administrative duties that they perform in return for reduced rent, casual counseling, conflict resolution type things. Like imagine being an RA in college, I guess. As a result, I'm extremely uncomfortable having my daughter there because I'm worried strangers will be flitting in and out of their place, or my daughter could be taken around the building with those people. I've told my sister my concerns and hesitance and she's extremely offended, saying I'm being judgmental of her lifestyle choices and that it's not a dangerous space for children as families are allowed to live there. I don't know. I could see this really blowing up and hurting our relationship, but I also don't want my daughter there. Ida. Edit. Okay, to everyone confused about the decor, the place is like a normal apartment building with gym, communal lounge space, cafe, etc. Except they've redone the communal areas to look kind of like a themed boudoir, heavy curtains, big couches. And yes, there is erotic art on the walls, mannequins, and a strip pole in the room. They host all kinds of workshops, mostly relationship/sex focused, on weekdays and possibly group sex activities on weekends. My sister says all of these are ticketed events that people need to pay for and reserve ahead of time. There's a bar too, but they can't serve alcohol, so I think people bring their own. I've visited before and most of the building looks normal except for the communal lounges. It's not like every hallway is decorated, just these communal lounge areas.